All right, today on Cabal Cast, we're going to be in Command & Conquer 3 Kane's Route to do a Christmas holiday video commentary. This game here is on a new map that I actually haven't seen yet because I haven't played Kane's Wrath in such a long time. It features DVMIR playing as the Martyr Kane against Senna playing as the random. So let's go on Atacama Road. Up in the top left here, we see Senna playing as a GDI type of faction, so it's going to be GDI Vanilla, Steel, Talons, or Zocom. And down on the bottom right, we see this is DVMIR. DVMIR, he's playing as the Martyr Kane, the green Martyr Kane. So yeah, this is Atacama Road, a pretty cool map. Two spikes right here, and then there's a green Tiberian field right here, and then there's a bunch of terrain back here. Looks almost like a map from CNC4 Tiberian Twilight. So yeah, that's a little bit strange, but this map's quite cool. Looks like we see Senna is going to go for some tip spikes. Obviously, he's going to do the same. Looks like, oh, we see a couple of saboteurs here, so he's going to capture the tip spikes. He's also going to go for some shadow teams. Looks like is this going to be shadow teams, or is this going to be, yep, shadow teams. Nice. He called in, and he looks like he wants to get the two engineers, but I think it's going to be too late. He may be able to catch one if he's lucky. But he's got to be careful that DVMIR doesn't get detected. But it looks like he wants to capture those two tip spikes in the on Senna's side of the map. So this could be very, very risky. He's going to group up his shadow teams together. And obviously Senna knows that there's going to be shadow teams here. He lost one of the members of that shadow team, which is not that good. But he also has cybernetic legs. Oh, he upgraded cybernetic legs with this Fern's engineers. That's going to be pretty cool. So these engineers now are 2 times as fast, and they're going to go probably capture those 2 tip spikes. There's no way in hell Senna is going to be able to defend that. DVMIR has a Awakened squad inside that building, or inside the Tiberian field. He does manage to power down the war factory for just a couple seconds. It's going to delay that another harvester. That Pitbull there was supposed to be delayed against that. We'll try to get those saboteurs, but it looks like he places down a trap there, which is quite interesting, so that if Senna wanted to capture that booby trap back. The booby trap is only cost $100. This used to be very, very popular back in the day, where you just drop down a $100 trap, and then if a person wanted to go capture that tip spike, he lose the $500 on that engineer, and he wouldn't be able to capture that tip spike. So that's going to be very, very cool. Although since Senna has a Pitbull here, I'm not even sure this is even possible. Can you even detect a stealth trap with a Pitbull, or you just have to anticipate it? I'm not too sure. I haven't really tested that out before. It looks like more Awakened squads here are just powering down that power plant. Senna is going to be destroying those 2, and then what has because DVMIR went for those 2 engineers, extra engineers, I should say. He's a little bit behind in terms of economy, but he will make that up once these 4 tip spikes start bringing in some much needed credits. In the center of the map here, we see these blue crystals. So it's kind of like CNC4, where it's like one little platform for that blue crystal, but it looks like it's quite cool how these tip crystals are, how they just like appear and they're just there. So in the center of the map here, there's probably a full load of blue tip for each of them. I'm not sure how that is, but we see Senna is bringing in a Pitbull and a single APC trying to take out that harvester. DVMIR is going to repair that instantly back to base. He's going to be low on economy. This could be a Scorpion tank here. He also places down a minefield, which is quite nice, and takes that harvester down to a little bit below half health. DVMIR is going to be expanding with his MCV. Senna has obviously done the same thing. Nope, shadow teams take out a power plant, which is quite nice. 2 Pitbulls, war factors here from Senna. So he obviously anticipates the fact that DVMIR is behind in terms of economy, but Senna has to make a move fast to take care of these this base right here. But this Pitbull is focusing down that harvester, and another minefield does a little bit of damage to that MCV. If he's lucky, he could be able to take out that harvester. He's bringing in more reinforcements with the Pitbulls, so this could be pretty bad here for DVMIR unless he can destroy these Pitbulls before he can destroy that harvester. The harvester needs to get prepared quickly before these Pitbulls take it out. It looks like Senna might be able to take out one of the Pitbulls, one of the harvesters, and it's super close. Oh, he takes out one of the Pitbulls here, but it doesn't matter. He loses one of the harvesters, which is quite honest, which quite sucks. He also DVMIR placed down a Hand of Nod just to get a couple of those rocket squads out to take care of the Pitbulls. But that double war factory Pitbull spam from Senna helped him out a little bit. And because of that, he lost the tip spikes. I think he decided to destroy them. I wasn't paying attention if Senna might have destroyed them on purpose because he thought there might be a trap there, or he just did it on my send a couple of engineers there. But I think Senna is too smart for that. He probably just destroyed them just for the hell of it. These two Shadow Team squads are still alive, and they're just giving Senna some real headaches. I think Senna might be on low power. No, he's not, because 2 power plants can power 2 refs and 2 war factories. So these Shadow Teams could take out another power plant if they wanted to, and now some Predator tanks are going to be coming off from Senna, and this could be pretty bad here for a DVMIR. He needs some Scorpion tanks, and he needs them now. He has quite a bit of them, actually. He has a double war factory now, and these pit bulls are going to be absolutely useless on Atacama roads, especially since when they're pretty close close quarters combat, which could be pretty good for artillery units. So now since Senna, because he has all these forces now, he can just build up as many forces as he possibly can and then just proc and prod DVMIR. But at the same time, DVMIR is going for some Scorpion tanks. He has quite a bit of them on the field, so he could defend this. I think he might be able, if he's lucky with these 2 Wagon squads, he could take out that Pitbull, but I think it would be too late. Senna plays on a Watchtower, and looks like DVMIR is not going to be able to emp that to destroy and save his emp squads. Those Shadow Teams are going to be coming in here, and they're going to take down a power plant, and they don't put Senna on low power because Senna knows that there's still Shadow Teams across the map here, and they do get detected by these Pitbulls. But I think both members of the squads are still alive, so the potential to place down more explosive charges is still there. And the Scorpion tanks here from DVMIR is going to be coming into the base of Senna, or the expansion I should say, and they're going to be doing a ton of damage on these harvesters because Senna is out of Tiberium in his main field. He has to go in expansion, but the expansion is under attack now by these Scorpion tanks, and they will probably claim a rocket harvester if they're lucky. They need to focus down, but I think, oh, it's super close. But I think Senna is just bringing in his pit bulls and just trying to take out the Scorpion tanks. He should have committed there, 1 Scorpion tank at least, to take out that rocket harvester and then just pull out his forces back, but he was... Senna was throwing a lifeline there to save his harvester, and now he's getting back for repairs and keep his operation going. Senna is still going for some Predator tanks. Back down here to DVMIR. He still has another handful of Scorpion tanks saving up. DVMIR has been expanding and getting up some blue tip, and Senna's doing the exact same thing. So both players are getting lots of Tiberium here, and they're just poking and prodding each other slowly to get as many harvesters as possible. DVMIR is keeping a handful of Scorpion tanks right there just in case of those Predator tanks will come out. But a barracks has been placed down now, and some rifleman squads are also coming out. He could be going for transitioning into some infantry, I should say. Oh, but those Shadow Teams finally get destroyed, so no more explosive charges there for DVMIR. He did a good job there with his Shadow Teams. We see the Scorpion tanks here are going to be going into the backside of the base, but there's way too many forces here, and they need to back away. That harvester is still not repaired, so he could have expended another Scorpion tank to take out that heavily damaged harvester, and now that harvester is just going to go at half the speed they needed to go. Another battalion of Scorpion tanks is going to be attacking from the backside of Senna's base. If they're lucky, they could take out a war factory if DVMIR focuses them properly. Back here we see the good economy going, and looks like DVMIR is going to be focused on that war factory, and this could that's the only war factory the Senna has left, so now he has to replace that war factory if he needed to. Now that DVMIR did the damage, he's just keeping Senna inside his base. I mean, Senna hasn't even gone out. He could do that now. He's got the tip field suits for the rifleman squads. That's obviously for the rocket squads, I think, for DVMIR if he had any. But now he's transitioning into some infantry, just like I said. And in the army station, they don't have any imp grenades, but they do have tip field suits. Sells off just for that upgrade. Senna is going to go for a aggressive expansion. He's calling in some bloodhounds. I don't know if that's GDI airborne. He's placed down a construction area right down here because he wants to place down a refinery to gather up some blue tib. DVMIR has a couple of tanks here, but they should repair back to base unless they're going to go for a crush maneuver. They'll go for they do go for a crush, and Senna is going to lose quite a bit of his rocket squads, and I think this was 100% worth it for DVMIR squishing up as many rocket squads as possible, but they're going to be expending way too many Scorpion tanks, so that's not going to be very good. A couple of Predator tanks in the middle of nowhere here from Senna. We see an attack here. Senna is going to be attacking one of the power plants, upgraded power plants from a DVMIR, and it does place down a shorter turn base defense, and a nice rock imp shot there will put those Predator tanks on low power for just a couple seconds. And he does have a tech lab here. He's also going to go for an upgrade. Could be supercharged particle beams, which is probably a good upgrade to get if you're marked of Kane. An avatar here is defending up against these Predator tanks, so they could do a lot of damage. I think that's exactly what they're going to do. But this one avatar is going to destroy the rest of the Scorpion tanks. But back here, Senna is just focusing down the rest of DVMIR's base. But DVMIR has another MCV here, so he could go for some supercharged particle beams. He throws down the laser turret as well, just to keep his MCV safe. But Yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to be placed on. He's still low on cash, which is quite surprising. He has 4 and 2 in this field, which is not the proper ratio. But that's why he's been stealing blue tip from that field all this time. And the supercharged particle beam was finally finished. And now they're going to be focusing on the infantry and the Predator tanks. That construction area is under attack now. Is almost destroyed. Nice M shot there will stop the Predator tanks in those wake. They need to focus down the ones that are firing first, but I think DVMIR will lose one of his construction areas if he's very, very lucky. But here comes a crush maneuver, and that's a good decision there from DVMIR's going for crush maneuver so that they don't have to take care of the MCV, and the MCV just survives barely. But DVMIR, he has a couple rocket squads here, and they will take out that avatar. So that was a nice shot there. But here comes the hand of Nod, and that will get that avatar husk. That construction yard is, he should be able to he needs to deploy it and then repair with his engineer. There we go. Now it's at 100% health, and that avatar husk is going to get reclaimed. Senna, meanwhile, has got his war factory back up. He's got a tier 2 command post with the AP ammo, barracks pumping out rocket squads, and some refineries here that it's way the hell away from that third expansion. So he should be very careful with that, just in case of Senna wanting to go for long distance fighting, which is kind of what he's doing. But at his main base here, he's lost one of his refiners, which is quite surprising. I'm not sure why or how. Meanwhile, this is going to be DVMIR going in for an expansion. He's probably going to go for that. I thought he would have gone for this one, but I'm not sure if he knows that Senna has claimed this Tibetan field. Will sort of claim that Tibetan field. Long distance mining with his harvesters, and now he's going to go for the center map here. Senna's stealing more of the blue tib. I'm not sure if any of them grow, honestly, unless there's something really cool that happens. But I think the one blue tib field that stays here is the one that just grows. And if you keep a certain amount of blue tib there, it will keep growing. But if you mine it out completely, then it's going to be gone for good. Double MCV coming out here, and there's an obelisk of light, so that means rocket harvesters are going to get destroyed 100%. Then we have to see some beam cannons on now, and that's going to be bad news for those refineries and the rest of the buildings here from Senna. These avatars are going to be pushing in, and nice shorter term base defense there. We're going to get those infantry off guard. You need to watch out that those avatars don't get destroyed. This beam cannon here should be doing a bunch of damage, but he needs like at least 5 or 6 of them to make a pretty good counterattack. Random bunch of infantry here from Senna just to do a little bit of damage, but there's a lot of short turns there. And the Redeemer has been risen out of his Redeemer engineering facility, so that's going to be pretty good for DVMIR. Senna's in a little bit of trouble. He needs to sell off his base and needs to get the hell out of there because he can't hope to defend this against a double MCV from DVMIR, and these avatars are pushing in as well. So DVMIR has pushed Senna away. Senna's over here on the third expansion, I should say. And this whole base here should be under attack, but he sold off his tier 2 as well, so that's not good. So he's back at tier 1, which I guess he's probably okay with that, but against a teched up Marcher Kane, it's going to be pretty tough. The buggy was there just to scout in from a DVMIR, and we see it. Tip trooper squads are going to be focusing, coming in, but they do take out that rifleman squad because these tip field suits, they do increase armor and hit points, but they decrease damage from Tiberium attacks. So provides immunity to Tiberium exposed damage. So I guess what if he had tip chemical troopers, so they do. See, I still don't understand this. Decreases damage from Tiberium attacks. So I guess, but tip chemical troopers, they do a ton of damage to infantry just like that. And double refinery here from DVMIR. He's got this entire base under his control. That Redeemer now has a double repair pods on it, so that's going to be pretty good. He's against mostly tanks, but the infantry will be able to take care of that. A nice attack here coming in from Senna. Could be going against DVMIR. DVMIR has avatars here, and he can just place down short-term base defense if he wanted to. So Senna needs to do something else. He can't just rely on just tier 1 pred tanks and infantry. He has to go for something else. My guess, he probably need to go for some juggernauts. Actually, no, scratch that because he's Zocom, so he can't build juggernauts. He has to go for some Zocom air, but he has a quadruple barracks here, so he's going to go for straight up infantry. And if he wants to supplement them with like grenadiers for like M capabilities, that'd be 100% worth it. But I think Senna is just going to go straight in for rockets and rifleman squads. So DVMIR needs to pick up that he's going to be up against infantry, and all he needs to do is just fortify his base 100%. He's even throwing down some disruption towers, which is quite nice. And this stealth Redeemer now is going to throw down the Rage Generator, and it does go into rage all these forces, and they do a bit damage. 2 Predator tanks will go down. Throws on the radar scan, and DVMIR is going to use this opportunity to push Senna out of this base right here. All you can do now is just need to go for double MCV and just place down shredder turrets, and all these infantry forces are also all going to be destroyed. But there's quite a bit of infantry here. I'm not sure if DVMIR is capable of holding this off. He's probably not base defenses, but with the added bonus of the armor, the field suits, he could potentially push DVMIR away. But DVMIR is just going to go for the crush maneuver with his avatars. I'm not sure about that idea, because he's leaving his MCV completely defenseless, even with the laser turret base defenses. But DVMIR needs to focus on the infantry, and the infantry need to focus on the construction area. It's very close here, but I think Senna might be able to hold this off here. They're focusing on the Redeemer now, which is probably not the best idea because it's not doing a whole lot of damage. He needs to focus on the construction yard so that he can take out the construction capabilities. And Senna just insanely amount of rockets here from him. Throws on another Rage Generator, but to be honest, didn't do a whole lot of damage because they're all focusing on that construction yard. And DVMIR, he got a little greedy there for a second. He did not know how many rocket squads were here from Senna, and in turn he's going to lose his construction yard 100%. He's even thrown on the cloaking field, and that did a lot of damage, but it didn't save his construction yard. So now DVMIR is down to 1 construction yard now, but I guess he's okay with that. Here come the magnetic mines. Don't do any damage to infantry, so that doesn't really do anything. But now he needs to defend this base. He has a disruption tower. He's also going to go for some venoms. He needs a lot of them to control what DVMIR has, what Senna has. But actually, some shadow teams now are being calling in, and they're going to be doing a ton of damage from the backside of things. Senna needs to focus on the Roughman squads before they focus on the shadow teams. The shadow team is a veteran, but that didn't last long. And now more shredder turns will be coming in. Senna doesn't have the forces necessary, but he is streaming in a bunch of infantry, so I guess he's okay with that. And with the magnetic mines, they don't do a whole lot of damage, any damage to infantry. So that was a bad maneuver there by DVMIR, but that's fine. Actually, since the Roughman squads are able to detect all the magnetic mines, but DVMIR has managed to establish himself. He's also going for some Spectre artillery, and his Venom army is a while away, but he will get a lot of forces for that to attack Senna. And Senna has been on tier 1 pretty much the entire game. He did get tier 2 just for the operations center, but other than that, he's just been focusing on tier 1 infantry spam. And his pack up his MCV again. Looks like he wants to go somewhere else. I'm not sure where. His Tiberium is about almost... He still has like a quarter left, the Tiberium field, but DVMIR is getting pretty low. He needs to go back to his main field, which is exactly what he's doing, and get that harvesting again. That Redeemer should be start destroying what Senna has. Senna, this base is completely vulnerable. 3 power plants and a refinery should be able to take out that. But here comes DVMIR with his Venoms, and he's going to meet a bunch of infantry with his with Senna, so that's not a good idea. He's going for some chemical troopers, and this is a pretty good idea from a DVMIR, because then you can just focus down the Roughman squads, and the Rage Generator goes off, which means they can't fire on their Venoms, and the Venoms are going to coming in. They're going to focus on the rest of the infantry, and here come the tip chemical troopers, and they're just going to do a ton of damage. The Spectres, and with the Spectre artillery coming in, they're going to do a ton of damage as well. And the tip chemical troopers, they do have the cybernetic legs, so now they're going to be doing they're going to be attacking these infantry squads, and they're going to chase them down because they're so slow that these tip troopers are going to be able to take them out 100%, and they're going to level up quite fast. So Senna is he's losing a lot of his rocket squads here, and I don't blame him. But now these tip troopers, if they see a watchtower, they're going to completely they're just going to stay right here. They just camp this field and keep Senna in his base. That refinery is up here. He finally puts on a war factory, and this could be for some more harvesters, I think. I'm not too sure. DVMIR has, I think he threw, that was the, yep, he threw down Ichor Seed, not Ichor Seed, because that's Scrin, more Tiberium, I'm not sure what it's actually called, but typical troopers are coming in with the Spectre artillery, and a commando on the field. That's not going to be very good for Senna, but it throws out another Rage Generator, and Senna's low on power, which sucks. That these tip chemical troopers are going to do a ton of damage to these rocket squads now, and the commando is going to be focusing on the rocket squads, which is exactly what it needed to do. The Spectre artillery is focusing down They were force firing, actually. So DVMIR is going to be pushing into the base of Senna. Senna, he mined all this field, which is pretty good, but now he needs to get his harvesters and sell off all his forces and get back to base where he needs to defend. He's going back for pred tanks. He sold off his war factory for some reason. I guess he wants to go in for some more barracks, but I don't think he has the tib room necessary to hold this. But look at all of these. This is a lot of tib trooper squads, and I never really got a chance to take a look at tib troopers up close like this. Whoops, sorry about that. They look like, yeah, this is what they look like, which is kind of cool. Up close and personal, that's quite cool. And Spectre artillery look pretty good as well. So anyway, DVMIR is pushing with his Redeemer, and they could take out that power plant, which will put Senna one less power plant down. These Venoms are doing very good as well. And back up here, Senna, DVMIR is happily mining. He's taken over the bottom half of the field, which is quite nice. He needs to get some harvesters back on that field right there, and if he wanted to maybe leech that field, Spectre artillery and tip trooper squads are on the standby for DVMIR. He could be going to attack Senna. Senna, he's going to be attacking this base right here, but he lost all of his forces, and yeah, Senna's going to be selling up. That's it. Senna's been defeated. So not too bad of a game. Showing the power of March of Kane and a lot of tip trooper squads. So yeah, 21 minutes, skip all that. Units graphed, structures graphed, resources, and stats. So 189,565 to DVMIR and 177,903 to Senna. So $112,000 difference in favor of DVMIR. Okay, so there's your game on Atacama Road. My name is Cabal, and I'll see you guys next time.